Hey everyone, welcome back to Pick of the Week. This time I'm featuring the third studio album by Jack White titled Boarding House Reach on Third Man Records from 2018. So it has been since 2014 since we had a new album by Jack White, and I think that's a long time in the making, but I think he spent a long time putting this thing together. Now, before I dive into what I think about this album, I just want to preface this by saying I don't really like Jack White. I didn't really get into the White Stripes. I never liked the Raconteurs. So I tried to keep an open mind when I went into this record, and he won me over. I don't know what it is about this record, but it just sunk its talent into me and just, it ripped me apart. And I'm just, I absolutely adore this record. And like my previous pick of the week, The Voids, this one is very eclectic. It is all over the map, stylistic wise, and also somewhat instrument wise. Even the types of songs on here. I mean, the first two songs are in waltz time, 3/4, perhaps it's 6/8, I'm not exactly sure. So there's a lot of variety, which I really appreciate. And also, there's some spoken word on here. There's two places on this record where it goes kind of more of a theatrical direction, which it just lends this concept record element to this album that I really enjoy. It was very surprising, but I just fell in love with it. The whimsy of it, the creativity, the way with words that Jack White has, as well as with instruments, because there's moments on here that it goes for long stretches of just pure instrumentation, no lyrics, and if there are, it's just more like oohs and ahs, and then a whole new part will come in, and then you'll get a whole blast of words that, even with the included lyric sheet, is very hard to follow, and it'll just keep opening and opening. And I had such a joy, such a treat listening to this record. It wasn't anything I expected, but to be fair, I wasn't expecting that much. And I don't know, just something just clicked about this for me that now I'm excited to kind of go back in, check out more of Jack White, perhaps even give the Raconteurs a try, although we'll see about that. But absolutely, I want to go dive more into the White Stripes just to kind of fill in that, because I've just been avoiding him for so long, and now I realize that was probably to my detriment. So anyway, guys, let's dive into this record. First up, we have Connected by Love, and this just really sets the tone for the whole record. Now, when it starts, it has this kind of interesting oscillating buzzing sound that must be showing my age, but it kind of reminds me a bit of like MTV News or some sort of bumper that MTV used to use.
Woman, don't you know what I'm suffering from?
That quickly gives way into this lovely 3/4 sort of waltz time, very swinging movement. It's really unassuming, but it blossoms into this wonderful sing-along spiritual feeling about it. And I think that's in large part to the addition of the MeCrary sisters. I don't really know much about them, but they lend their voices on a number of tracks, and it really helps to round out the records and gives sort of a nice polish to Jack White's sometimes abrasive singing that I do enjoy, but the two sounds of them really have a nice little yin and yang, if you will.
Yes, I know. We're connected. Connected by love. We're connected. Yeah, I can't be rejected.
Track 2 is Why Walk a Dog, and this one continues that 3/4 waltz time feel. Maybe it's in 6/8, I'm not really sure. My music theory is not that great these days. However, this song has a real low down, dirty, bluesy vibe, which I really dig.
What is so funny about beasts above understanding?
Now, the one thing I'm not too sure on is whether or not he's talking about dogs or if he means something else. I'll leave that up to you guys. Leave me a comment down below.
And took their babies away from them, stuck a price tag on their nose, and now you're buying it close.
Track 3 is Corporation, and this to me feels much more what I think of when I hear Jack White's name. Just kind of like fuzzy guitar, kind of more rock blues bass, but the guitar and synth opening riffs are fantastic. And there's also some Moog on here, but I can't exactly pinpoint where it is, but I'm sure it's adding that little extra sprinkling on top. Now this is mostly an instrumental, which I like, and what I really enjoy is how expressionistic it gets by the end of this song. It really gets out there, but what kind of solidifies all of it is the drumming. The drumming on here is so good, really helps to keep the whole song grounded. So track 4 is, I'm gonna say this wrong, ABULIA and AKRASIA. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but this is a theatrical sort of spoken word piece with this sort of wispy kind of a thing. But for me, this is very visual. I get the sense that, you know, Jack White is in this like 3-piece suit, maybe with a top hat, and he's saying these words in front of a congregation, and they're all inside this sort of tent pole thing in the middle of a field, and it's all lit by candlelight. I don't know where I'm getting that, but it has kind of a gothic feel. I don't know, what do you guys think?
I renounce wholeheartedly in this extreme abjuration that which I repudiate so vehemently, adamantly, unrepentant.
So track 5 is another hard to pronounce title. I think it's HYPERMISOPHONIAC, but please don't grill me in the comments if I got it wrong. I fully admit I don't know how to say this word. This is a song that I feel if you've gotten this far and you're still on the fence, this one's gonna push you over and you're not gonna like this record. However, for me, I really like it. It's very unusual, but somehow Jack is able to contain it all into this kind of groovy song, and that feels actually pretty instrumental, even though there are lyrics on here.
Nowhere to run when you're robbing a bank, when you're robbing a bank. Ain't nowhere, ain't nowhere, nowhere to run when you're robbing a bank, when you're robbing a bank.
Rounding out side A, we have Ice Station Zebra, and I have no idea what that title means, but it doesn't matter because this is another great song. I love how it opens up with this pure instrumentation back and forth. Like sometimes in jazz, they call it trading fours, where you go back and forth soloing on a certain number of bars, right? And that's what I feel like this opening is, just a real showcase of all these different instruments playing these different sounds. And then by the time the vocals come in, we're treated to this really laid back swagger sing talk by Jack. Oh, it's just infectious. I really, really dig it.
Hear me out, it ain't easy, but I'll try to explain. Everything in the world gets labeled a name.
Now, as far as the lyrics, I really don't know what he's singing about. There's like moments where I feel like he's responding to critics saying he's just copying someone else or that, but ultimately he just says, hey, we're all just copying God, aren't we? We're all children of God. And then there's another part where he's singing about family, how we're all doing this together. And then there's still another part where he's singing about blazing his own path. I just find it so interesting to kind of dive in there and really examine the lyrics.
I lay low and turn off the lamps. Come on over, you can lick the stamps, and we can put together a folio and sing hallelujah in stereo. If the father baby let her into the fold, but keep the car running on molten gold.
Opening up side B, we have Over and Over and Over. Now this is actually an old song. Jack tried to record this while he was in the White Stripes and then again with the Raconteurs, but finally in 2018 we get to hear the song finished and it is a stellar single. Definitely the standout on this record. Super catchy chorus. Love the raw kind of fuzzed out guitar on here.
That's just a vain dreamer, my baby lion dreamer, all the way to the world. Over and over. I think therefore I die. Anxiety and I rolling down a mountain. Over and over.
This certainly is Jack sort of embracing his own brand, like what we know him best for, probably going all the way back to the White Stripes. Really dig this song. Hope you guys like it too.
And although you warned me, the gods have all scorned me now. The wind is blowing, volcanoes blowing.
Track 2 is Everything You've Ever Learned, and here we're treated to some more theatrics, which I really dig. This time, Jack's kind of doing an Android type thing. There's these kind of vintage 70s computer sounds, and it's kind of like a commercial or a PSA or something. I'm not exactly sure what it is.
Hello. Welcome to Everything You've Ever Learned. Sponsored by Hello. Welcome to...
But this gives way to this kind of prog rock inspired groovy rhythm section, and on top, Jack is singing the lyrics, but I almost see it as just the way he's doing it as like the leader of a protest, like inspiring his fellow people to rise up and battle against this injustice. And I like the fervor and the intensity that he sings with. I will say that this is kind of an odd mix of a song, but again, somehow Jack can kind of just make it work. So check it out. Track 3 is Respect Commander, and oh man, this is another treat for the senses. We have this barrage of frenetic drums throughout, and there's some 80s kind of synth sounds, including what sounds like to me like a Fairlight Stab, just that iconic like orchestra hit. And this continues on for the good, I would say, first half. But then it opens up into this milky unknown and the lyrics come in, and then it hooked me at that point. It just needled into my brain and man, it became hypnotic. There's just something about the way he's singing and the rest of the instruments that just, I can't get enough of this song. And it ends with the best guitar solo on the record.
And I cannot protect my heart from her command.
Track 4 is the whimsical Esmeralda Steals the Show, and this to me steals my heart. I love the fanciful nature of this song. It feels like a limerick. Now I don't know if it's technically a limerick in terms of how it rhymes, but just the feeling of it. It kind of reminds me of something that would have come out of the 60s psychedelic movement. Man, this is such a delicate little butterfly of a song that I love hearing this come out of Jack White. Oh my gosh, this guy is just fascinating to me.
By a barefooted fairy, not with a clang but a whisper, totally stealing the show. Fools desire distraction and not take to heart. Their faces to their gadgets fall south.
Track 5 is Get in the Mine Shaft, and this opens with a spoken word piece with some nice synths underneath it that kind of actually reminds me of Twin Peaks a little bit. It just must be on my mind. Now, that spoken word piece is different depending on what pressing you get, which I find so interesting, and I love that Jack did this. Now, however, the collectors out there, it'll probably drive you nuts because there's at least 9 different versions that we know of as of this taping. So I'm going to play you the version I have here.
I've been walking down by the river for hours. Past sailors that have less tattoos than the average teenager.
Now the song that follows is a great blend of funk, Brazilian sounds, and the MeCrary sisters. Up next, we have What's Done Is Done, and this one is a very interesting mix of vocal and instrument styles, almost at odds at times. This almost feels like a country singer in an 80s karaoke bar. Oh my gosh. But what I really like about it is the inclusion of Esther Rose. She provides some backing vocals, kind of helps to sort of set the tone of a kind of a country ballad. Now, despite the rather bleak lyrics on this one, there is a subtle sweetness overall, which I like, and I think that has a lot to do with Esther singing on here.
What's done is done. I just can't fight it no more. So I'm walking downtown to the store, and I'm buying a gun.
The album ends with HUMORESQUE, and this is my favorite song off the album. The title literally means what the song is. It's a silly kind of humorous love song, and it warms my heart. I love this so much.
Trains of humoresque divine, you thrill and fill this heart of mine with gladness like a soothing symphony.
And yes, it starts off kind of silly, like it's almost making fun of that genre, but by the time it ends, it just blooms into this wonderful sophistication, and in comes this really glorious piano sound. The tone on that thing is just luscious, and it just ends with sincerity, and that leaves me with such a great feeling at the end of this record. All right, guys, let's talk about the packaging. So this is the standard edition I have here. I love how the identifier sticker is right across her eyes there. It almost adds to the look of the album. Now, of course, you can take the cellophane off and you can see her eyes, but man, so cool. There is, I would call, a deluxe edition. It's still just a single jacket, but that has an alternate cover of Jack. Now, on the back there, you get the track listings, a little bit of legal stuff. Thankfully, the barcode is just a sticker. Jack White, you are the man. And what's really cool on the inside is that it's blue. I love that attention to detail. And also, the cardstock of this jacket is heavyweight. Now, let's talk about the lyric sheet insert that we have here. Kind of reminiscent of the front cover here, this geometric design. And opening up, you get lyrics with credits, and on the back there, lyrics, thank yous, and more legal stuff. Now, what I like is that it came in a poly-lined black paper sleeve, really classy. Love that attention to detail by Third Man Records. Now this is the standard black edition, but you know what? It actually is quite substantial, the weight here. I don't know if it's exactly 180 grams, but it feels like that. It's close to that. And here are the labels. This is side A, followed by side B. And just so you know, this did not come with a digital download code. All right, everybody, this has been Boarding House Reach by Jack White. What can I say? He made a fan out of me. I absolutely adored this record, but I want to know what you have to say. Be sure to leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this album. How do you think it compares to his other solo records? Until then, I want to thank all of you for watching, but I especially want to thank these viewers for suggesting I check out this record. I am your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side.